How you doing, brother?
Pretty good here. A Wednesday, September 11th.
Good to see you.
Yep. I got a nice background here commemorating all the heroes of that day. And, the only thing I see that happened in Cohoes is our flag got lowered to half staff.
Yeah, I just, gosh, I don't know, Timmy. Every time I talk about the city of Cohoes, it just makes me ill. This is a really, it's a special day in this country, right? It's a day that we all can remember. Every person that is old enough to remember the day this
Hmm.
happens knows exactly where they are on
Yep.
that day.
Yep.
I was at A plus getting gas,
Hmm.
and I heard it come over the radio.
Hmm. Yep.
And I was a firefighter. So I took great interest. I stopped what I was doing. I turned on I turned up the radio, and I heard him say that a plane hit one of the World Trade Centers.
Hmm.
And for me, I just couldn't even wrap my arms around thinking terrorists, right? I was thinking, holy
Right.
shit, somebody must have had a small plane passed out, something happened,
Yep.
and they drove the plane into the trade center. This is tragic.
Right. I thought it was something that's small, like a little Cherokee prop plane. But no, a jet liner. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and
And
then
then, right,
a
then a
couple minutes
shock,
later.
and then a second one. That's when I knew this was an attack on this country.
Well, I'm going to tell you how foolish I am because I still couldn't comprehend it. I thought to myself, what could have happened? Was somebody looking? I mean, it flew
Yeah.
into the World Trade. What's going on here? I just couldn't wrap my arms around it. And then
Yeah.
it kind of sunk in like, oh my God, our country um, is under attack. Sean Van Sleet said, Tim, we can't hear you, though I
Yeah.
can hear you.
Yeah. My mic is working. I could see it going up and down. I don't know why he can't hear me. Maybe it's him.
I don't know. I don't know. Can you hear him now, Sean? He does whisper unless he's yelling at somebody. But but going back full circle,
Yeah.
it's a day that we remember where we were. It's a day that I think it's just a somber day every single year that passes by.
Yeah.
Um, it's a day that we should all celebrate the heroes of this country. We should be proud of the United States of America. We should be proud of the firefighters, the police, and most importantly, I think the everyday citizen who jumped into action to try to help save people's lives.
Yeah.
And in some cases, to me, they lost their own lives.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
and that just makes you step back for a second and say, you know, thousands of people got up for work. Thousands of people were thinking about what they had to do that day. Some were thinking about the work that had to get done. Some were thinking, I can't wait to get out of here. I'm going on vacation. You
hmm
know, just getting up every day and going to live your life has a new meaning to me, right?
yeah. Yeah.
And it's always had a new meaning after 9/11. Now I was blessed in a sense to still be in the fire department, and if and you probably recall this, we end up having a situation where we wanted to help adopt a family and do the best we could from the city of Cohoes, the Coast
Yeah.
firefighters, and all of the residents. And we end up adopting uh, Engine Company 226, and Brian McAleese was the firefighter who lost his life, and he had some young kids. He was married, so we end up working with the local fire departments. We raised a whole bunch of money. We purchased a van. We drove it down to New York, full of toys. We met Brian's wife, and we presented her with all of the toys and everything. And it was just a real special moment. And
hmm
all these years later, I'm still friends with members of 226. I'm friends with Pete Colkin, who went to
Yeah.
Albany University, who is just a wonderful guy. There's so many. We went down and presented them Willie Charbonneau, who's a great woodworker. If you've seen some of his carvings, he made this beautiful plaque that named all of the people from 226 that perished, and they still have it hanging in the firehouse today. And
Yep.
matter of fact, I sent Pete a message. I send him a message every year, sending my love and prayers to him and his family and all of the people of New York City. And he always sends me back a picture of the beautiful woodworking that Willie Charbonneau made that we brought down that hangs on their wall.
Really nice of him.
So
Yeah.
so it's really again it's a somber day, but it's a day that we can look at today and honor all of those people. And no, nobody should ever forget this day.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it's so important because you can imagine how many kids are weren't born back then, right?
Yeah. Right.
Or they were
It's
really little that today they don't even know anything about 9/11 or know very little. And we should make this a very important part of our history.
yeah. I believe it was 2001, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been 23 years.
Yeah, 23. So you got a lot of kids there that were not born. They're in high school, college, and they don't know what happened.
Yeah, and the reason I say that it should be embedded in every community. It should be embedded in the history of this
Yeah.
country. I know we are spending a lot of time in this world today trying to erase the history of our country.
Yeah.
The
That's
world
I
is
agree. Yeah.
upside down. It is completely crazy. But this event, one of the worst tragedies our country has ever seen, should be taught to every person alive. And every community should, on a yearly basis, pay homage to this day and to the people that died and the people that are heroes and how our country completely changed from that day. And that leads me to this whole disappointment in the city of Cohoes. Again, the city of Cohoes is the only city that I found that did absolutely nothing.
Hmm.
I heard nothing from the leader of our city. The mayor did not say a word. He didn't put together a community event so
Hmm.
people could come out and pay homage to the people who lost their lives, to the
Hmm.
military who defended our country, and the kids that lost their lives there, and the people that went to work, and the EMS workers and the police and everybody who is dying still today from the
Yeah.
effects. Those people who gave of themselves digging through that pile that's behind you
Yeah.
of poisonous gases. We have people to this day still dying from diseases caused by that tragic day. And
Yeah.
the
And
city of Cohoes
well, and,
can't
and
even have a little memorial. We built a beautiful Veterans Park.
yes. Yeah.
We could have went to Veterans Park because certainly the veterans are also people who paid a heavy price
They do.
because of this
In
day.
fact, all of their flags in all of their areas today, Sean, were down at half mast. I saw them down at half mast on North Mohawk Street in that
Yeah.
little park area there, and every single flag was down. Okay, and
So
at
if
half mast. Yep.
so thank you for lowering the flags. Boy, that took a lot of effort on your part, didn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, really. Thank you
And
for getting out of bed this morning on this day where you should be grateful to be alive.
yeah.
And the way you pay respect in the city of Cohoes is that you lower some flags. Why Troy's got an event going on, Waterville's got an event going on, Albany's going to have an event going
Yeah.
on, all across the capital region events are going on.
Even on the city Facebook page, okay, it took a look on there. Okay, no mention of 9/11 or anything. What they do have a notice is for some street work up here on Manor Avenue. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
right.
it.
So
Okay,
so so on
nothing
this
about
day,
nothing about this day whatsoever. You know, they'll put out something for a mac and cheese event, but nothing from 9/11. I mean, we saw this with Memorial Day. Okay, Memorial Day, they didn't even lower the flag for that. It's just this guy is out of touch, Sean. Okay, he's in such a bubble. Okay, that you almost need someone day by day say, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do.
To me, is he in a
It's
bubble
insane.
or is he just not really care?
I think both.
I mean, you have to intentionally not do anything today. You have to get up and
Yeah.
say, we're not going to
Well, he
we're not
wants to
going
be paid for it. I mean, he was do if you recall, he was complaining about. Well, he has to go to all these events on his weekends when he should be off work. Okay, that's why he wanted his $21,000 pay raise. He's working all the time. Instead of being up chopping wood on the weekend, okay, and things like that. The guy doesn't have any concept, okay, of volunteering any of his time. Everything
Well,
wherever he has to go for an event is a burden on him. It seems.
I would tell you certainly he did remove the true meaning of Cahoes Proud.
Oh
He
yeah,
didn't just
he's
take down every sign and waste
yeah.
$40,000 to put up his new signs with the wrong freaking birth date of the
y-
city on them.
yes, yeah.
But he destroyed the true meaning of those signs.
Hmm.
He destroyed the true meaning of what we tried to bring back to the city when we
Yeah, some
said Cohoes
pride.
Proud.
Yes,
There
yeah.
is no pride in this city. And the fact that on this very day, one of the most important days in the history of this country,
Hmm.
our little 4 square miles couldn't find it in their heart to put together some type of memorial.
Some type of ceremony with our
Just,
veterans.
I understood that it's not always the simplest thing to try to organize all these things in a small town, right?
Yeah.
But we did things just like bring all of the fire trucks and police in the front of City Hall, bring the pastor from the fire department,
Yeah.
bring the bell and ring the bell to honor the
Yep.
people at the exact time that the planes flew into the World Trade Center. We did our small little part, 45-minute part of
Yep.
saying, we did not forget you.
Yeah.
We will never forget you.
Yep.
We are Cohoes proud,
Yep.
and we will stand here every year forever to let you know that you are not alone and that 23 years later, a country still mourns with you for your loss.
Yeah, I agree.
And we couldn't do that.
No,
You know why? Because we're too busy
we don't
doing
care.
nothing.
They don't care.
Too busy doing nothing. And so that, I wanted to share that today because I waited all day thinking, you know what, Sean, you're just, you know, you're getting all hyped up about nothing. They're going to come out and they're going to do something. Maybe you didn't see it. I
Yeah.
texted a couple people and they're like, "Nah, we don't nothing. The city ain't doing nothing." And that's when I
Well.
realized we have lost our way in this city.
Hmm.
The city is out of control in 1,000 different ways. The city
Crime,
is falling
violence, theft. Yeah.
in 1,000 different ways. But there's one thing that you could do by just gathering up some people and paying a little respect, and you couldn't find it in your busy schedule to do that. And that's just a moment of clarity for me that this city is really falling apart. But to all those people who are watching the show, I know
Hmm.
there's firefighters, police. I know there's friends of mine from New York that watch the show. I
Yeah.
know Pete Colkin sneaks in and watches it once in a while. I could tell you that we love you. We're with you. We think about you. We pray for you on this day, and we will for the rest of our lives as well. So God bless you, and God bless New York City, and God bless this country.
Yeah,
Uh,
and and Cahoes, when I run into different shops here and there, and I run into a police officer, maybe sitting down having lunch or something like that, we have a brief couple minutes to say something. I always leave and tell them to have a safe night and stay safe out there.
Listen, I get
You
it.
know?
I was the firefighter that worked in this
Yeah,
city for 26 years, right?
yeah,
Some days you didn't do anything. You'd go, wow, this is the greatest job. I haven't done a thing all day. The
yeah,
next day, you haven't stopped working from dusk to dawn.
yeah.
And yeah, it's a scary job at
And
times.
it's not just fires, okay? It's not just fires these
No,
guys do. I
look at
mean,
the
there was a
people.
big flood with a big storm, and they'll come on out and your firefighter they'll pump out your basement. Okay,
I mean,
they
this is
do a
what I
lot
learned
of
though.
things behind the scenes that people don't know they do.
What I learned is that every day is a gift.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if you're a firefighter. Yes, that may be a little riskier than this job. It may be a little
Yeah.
riskier than that. A cop may be, we all take
Yeah.
careers that have a little bit of risk in them.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people that walked out the door this morning that ain't coming home today.
Yes.
And they weren't firemen, they weren't police, they weren't working in this, a dangerous job. They were just human beings
Yes.
that
Yep.
walked out the door and they will never come home. And that's what I took away from 9/11. I didn't take away, oh, I work in a dangerous job or the cops work in
Yep.
it. I know what job I have. I know what they do. I know what the military does. I know what the people that work at a 7-Eleven do, where people are
Yeah.
walking in now shooting them over a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
What I learned in this whole tragedy was that life is fragile, my friend.
Very
And
much so.
people need to remember that. And I was doing a post a couple weeks ago when I was out walking, and I said, don't let a day go by without telling the people you love how much you love them. And there's no excuse because you can text them, you can call them, you can email them. There's a million ways to contact the people that you love to let them know you love them because life is fragile. And I know this is kind of a weird way to put this, but you know what? Me and my ex-wife, we had our differences for sure, right? But she was still the mother of my kids. And I happened to put a post out about making sure you tell the people that you care about or you're thankful for that you care about them or you're thankful for them. And I happened to do that with my ex-wife on a Wednesday evening. And Wednesday night, she died. And I thought to myself, this is crazy. This is how fragile the world is.
Yeah.
This is why you need to love and care about the people that you care about and be kind to people and pass on your good luck to people and be blessed, man, because you may not be here tomorrow. And I don't want to leave this world having enemies no more. You know what happens when you get older? I laugh about it, but I always say, geez, I hope that guy I punched in the mug at Boney's ain't still mad at me 40 years later. I hope he forgives me. Because as you get older, you realize what life is all about. When you're a kid, you're crazy. When you get older, you understand
look back, you do tend to look back. Hey, I wanted to tell you, Sean, it's nice to see that the comments seem to be working here.
Yeah, I got it fixed. I got it fixed.
And that was good. So Don Nicole Law, he said exactly, and John Lard's 23 years. So
yeah, while you're sitting home napping, I'm working my tail off trying to get the show up and running. But hey, let me jump into something else because again, I'm trying to point out good about Cohoes when I can find it. But here's another thing that alarms me, and it has to alarm the people. Hello, Pam, love you, and hope you're doing well. This is the stuff that drives people insane. We know just the other day, right, that a shooting occurred. Another shooting in the city of Cohoes. It's like the OK Corral here, and so. Jesus, Timmy, I don't know. We have a shooting. We find out it's a 17-year-old. We know he shoots a 40-year-old. And guess what we know now? Absolutely nothing.
Nothing, no.
Because there hasn't been a word said about anything about this incident. Now, let me just ask a question. Is the 17-year-old kid in high school? Is he going to school?
Well, likely at that age, I imagine he would be, but we don't know.
Is he roaming the streets? Do we know what happened? What about just a simple, listen, we had a shooting. It's all under control. We have a person in custody. And if you let him out, say, hey, he's 17, he's been released. Let the community know. Because the other day I'm watching one of the major networks, and I find out that a kid murdered somebody, and he was 17, and they took the kid and put him into the school, and the kid was going to school.
Right.
So he's in
Right.
school, going to school while he just murdered somebody, and the
Yeah.
school knows nothing about it. Now,
Wow.
how can you as a parent say, hey, this is great. I feel comfortable in my community. I feel
Yeah.
like I can just drop my kids off at school. I ain't got to worry about nothing. Now, I believe that we have a great school system. We have great, security at our schools. But this stuff slips through the cracks. And so the
Yeah.
question is, where is this boy now?
Yeah. That's a good
Is
point.
he in our school system? Is he walking the streets? Is he in jail? Is he been released? My understanding is that they released him to his mother, and he's never been arrested since.
Wow. Well,
That's
I would
we're on.
imagine that he wouldn't end up in a county jail at that age unless he would be put over in a juve center.
Well, yeah, well,
But
that's the
with
rate
jail
of age. At
reform,
17, if you
he's
shoot
probably
somebody, you ought to go to jail.
yeah he should at least be incarcerated somewhere.
Or at least the
Yeah.
community should at least know
Yeah.
that he's not in the school right now
Yeah.
until this thing gets situated. Our city is under siege. There's been shots fired almost weekly in this city. Okay,
Stabbings too.
crime is
Stabbings. Yep.
totally out of control.
Yep.
Fights, stabbings. It is a city that's 4 square miles, and I told you this, Timmy, and I told everybody who
Yeah.
listens to this show. 4 square miles, you should be able to keep it completely safe. But if it gets out of control, it becomes the wild, wild west really quick, right? So you either
Hmm.
keep the bad people out and you keep 4 square miles safe, or they pack themselves in here and it's out of control and you can't stop it. And we're on
Well,
the verge of being out of control.
yeah. Well, look at. I mean, they had to serve a search warrant down on Remsen Street, and they needed the state police with all SWAT gear and a military vehicle just to serve a search warrant. Has that ever happened? I've not known that to have happened in Cohoes in the past
Well,
for
look,
just
here's the
for
problem.
a search warrant.
The problem is that there's so much shit being taking place in the city, and they're trying to keep it from everybody,
Yeah.
right? So it gets to the point where it isn't just a small little search warrant. You got to send in the state police with the freaking tanks because
Yeah.
these are bad people.
Yeah.
These ain't
Yeah.
these ain't just okay. Timmy Thibodeau got in a fight last night at Boney's, and he punched the guy in the mouth, and we're gonna have to go up to his house and arrest him because the guy wants to press charges.
Yeah.
They're not coming down the street with a tank. You don't see that shit in this city. You never
Yeah.
have because we haven't had this kind of problem. And I can
Right.
tell you in 3 years, this is the worst it's ever been.
Yeah. I've never
We have a
seen him.
state trooper in charge.
Right. I've never seen a military operation because I can't look at it wasn't military, but it had all of the optics of military. I mean, you had soldiers wearing helmets and state police or whatever they were wearing helmets, fatigues, okay, a massive SWAT vehicle and all that. I've never seen that in Cohoes. And then it turns out the mayor posts, well, they're doing a search warrant. Well, what
Yeah.
the hell? Did they expect to get shot at?
Well, obviously, these are bad
Maybe.
people. This
Yeah.
guy has his head in the sand. I told you, and I don't want to
Yeah.
be an asshole, but sometimes I guess I am. But
Okay.
he's like Lurch. He walks this city every day, but he's got his head looking at his feet and his fingers scraping the ground. He
Yeah.
doesn't pay attention. He doesn't care. He don't really care because Timmy, he walks by some of the most dirtiest parts of this city that require 15 minutes to get out a broom and clean it up. He doesn't care. You know what he cares about? He cares about raises for him and raises for his kid and raises for his brother-in-law. He gets a street paved. That's a secondary street that
Right.
he has it paved. It's probably $1 million because he owns 6 houses
Yeah.
on that street.
1.1 miles. Yep.
He tells people that if
Paving.
they're scared to move out of the city,
Yep.
This is not a man who cares about a community. It's a man who thinks he owns the community.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the problem with the city right now. There's no pride, and nobody really cares. Nobody gets up in the morning and says, I'm the leader of this city and I care about the people. I care that it's dirty, so I want it clean. I care that it's unsafe, so we're going to make every change necessary to make it safe.
Yeah.
I care that we need to make sure we have enough people to provide EMS and fire. I'm not going to fight with the guys and try to cut them down to the lowest levels in the history of the city. We need our DPW to get out there and work a tough job every single day. I'm not going to keep treating them like shit and every other day try to fire one of them. Okay? That's what happens. You know it. I know it. Everybody who lives in the city that pays attention knows it. We get email after email after email, phone calls, and
Yeah.
people are just disgusted.
Yeah.
And I don't see that changing. But Timmy, I want to tell you, we did a podcast a little over, I'd say, a year ago when we talked about the New York State Department of Education, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the job of the Department of Education is to ensure that the state of New York has the best schools and our kids are the smartest, the brightest. They have everything they need to learn, that we provide them with the best
Yeah.
education. Isn't that the role of this quasi-governmental,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
a
And
board?
part of that is for the kids to be able to socialize in a healthy environment. And how do they do that? They do that through sports, through clubs, okay? Band, like a high school band, a chorus or whatever. But a lot of it is high school sports. And now the mascots for the sports are under attack.
So
Okay.
so that's my
I
point.
guess
My
we're
point.
lucky in Cahoes because the Loyal Order of Tigers, okay,
Well, they
are not.
haven't. Mark my words.
Yeah,
Some kid will say I identify as a tiger, and I'm embarrassed that we're calling ourselves the Tigers.
Tigers.
Some
Yeah.
crazy shit will happen because this in itself
Hmm.
is crazy to me.
Yeah.
We have a state that is in the middle of the pack, okay,
Yeah.
23rd in the state for
Yeah.
education. We should be striving for number one. We should be striving to make sure New York, with the amount of money we spend on education, gives the kids the greatest education in any state in the country, maybe any place in the world.
Right.
But we're not.
Right. So
We're
now
not worried about that.
Right. They want to get rid of all Native American mascots. I mean, we come into this country as colonists, and who's here? All the Native Americans. Then you honor those people maybe decades or century later, you honor that stuff because it's a form of honoring them, not putting them down. Okay, and then what happens there? Oh, we can't do this anymore. Okay, because someone's offended.
Just,
It's
let me
just
just make something
crazy.
clear to you. I've never heard any person
Hmm.
from the Native American heritage say, I am so ashamed. My life is so screwed up. I can't even function because we call our mascot and our team the Plainsmen,
Yeah,
the Braves, the Chiefs, the Warriors.
the
Give
Redskins.
me a break.
The
This is
Redskins, yeah, they complained about that team name, right? And then after they got rid of it down there in Washington, I think it took about 8 to 10 years. Now the tribes want the name back.
well, now they're
I mean,
suing to get it back.
yeah,
My point is, if you spend, I don't know, 15 minutes to go up to the high school
hmm
and watch how hard these kids practice
yeah,
and commit to excellence in sports,
hmm
and how proud they are of their mascot, how proud
yep,
they are to call themselves the Chiefs, the Warriors. If you are part of the Native American heritage, you would be proud. You would say, look at how hard these kids work. This is an example of everything good in this country. And they're using our heritage
Right.
as a way to show their pride. And now all of a sudden, if you're a chief or if you're a plainsman, you're offending somebody?
Right. And what
Listen, this
you could
country's weak.
you
People are weak.
you could take
People
it
are
even a step
cowards.
further than that, Sean. Take it even beyond sports. Okay, I'm offended because you named the street Mohawk Street or
Oh,
Cayuga Plaza. Okay, which are Native American names. Am I wrong there?
no,
No, but some
you,
idiot can come on out and claim I'm offended because you're making fun of the Mohawk Indian tribes or whatever it is, and that street shouldn't be named that street.
well, they should
This
change
is
the name of
how
Cohoes, right?
crazy it is.
We
Yeah,
wasn't Cohoes a the folk tale is an Indians going over the falls and
yeah,
he's
that's
yelling
how we got our
cahoose or
name. It was
cahoose
called
like
it was Cahoose, and what that translated to is that the canoe where the canoe falls over the fall. Did you
yeah,
know that if you go to Google Earth, okay, and you type in Cahoes, there's no other name Cahoes anywhere in the world, and it takes you right to our city.
yeah.
It's
But
that unique.
my point is we should worry about the education of our kids and we
Yeah,
should stop being a bunch of weak people.
yeah.
You look at there's
What about
enough.
Shenandoah? Are they going to
That's
get
the
rid of their
plainsmen. They just
right?
voted last night. They
Right.
just voted last night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, 5-2
Yeah.
to remove the name of plainsman. Knifka, who is the historian, said Cohoes, place of the falling canoe,
Yeah. That's
which
what
is
I.
basically what you said.
Yeah.
But
Just
yes,
what I
Randy,
said.
you're
Yes.
right. So
You're
do we
right.
change the name of Cohoes?
Yeah.
Do we
Hmm.
change the name of? I mean, where does this shit
The
stop?
falling canoe fell over the Mohawk River.
Falling canoe hit
So we
somebody
got
in
to
the
change
head
the
and they're
name of that river
morons.
too. Okay.
The whole entire country
Yeah.
seems to be losing their minds.
Yeah.
Now, I can tell you since 9/11, our country has changed in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
right?
And not for the better when it comes
And
to
not always for the better. We've
identity
seen
politics or whatever you want to
that's
call it.
right. We've seen this complete change. We started out like nobody's going to tread on us and we're going to be strong and we're going to make this country better
Yeah.
and we're never going to let this stuff happen again. Well, geez, welcome to listen. I was a fireman. I was part of the union and I went and listened to all these politicians with all their bullshit talk about we'll never let this happen again. People will never get in this country again. We'll never let down our guard again. And now we have 20 million of them jumping the border coming back over. You think 9/11 was terrible? You just hold your breath. But since 9/11 all the way up to today, we've seen some real weird stuff happen. Okay? This border is crazy, but now we're going to pick on a bunch of kids
In high
about
school.
in high
And
school about
and
being a
that works its
plainsman.
way even down to the lower grade levels because they aspire on up to become a lady tiger if you're girls softball or for kids in the middle school to get their letter as a Cahoes Tiger, in athletics. So it really tears down the entire structure of our education where kids don't have anything to inspire to. So what happened with the name Plainsman? Is it gone?
So plainsman was at last. It was either last night or the night before they voted it out. So they're no longer
Really?
the plainsmen.
So what are they going to call
Who the
themselves?
hell knows? I have no idea because the people in charge are the morons,
Yeah, yeah,
and the people who vote for them, people in charge, are the morons.
yeah,
And so we're the morons that elect morons who make moron decisions, and then we go, hey, that's a bunch of morons. No
yeah,
shit. It's a
yeah.
vicious cycle, isn't it? Right? So right
It's
now, don't
insane.
worry
Yeah,
about this. Don't worry about this Common Core bullshit. I don't even know if that's in school no more. All I
yeah,
know is that 2 plus 2 is always going to be 4, and I don't need 16 pages of documentation to
yeah.
tell me that. I don't
I
need
don't.
to watch my kids come home and cry because they
Yeah,
can't figure out how to do
yeah,
2 plus 2 because you need to do 40 times, 2 different kind of moves to do it, right?
yeah,
So the bottom line is instead of worrying about, the plainsmen, worry about fixing the schools, educating our kids, and
yeah,
getting our kids in a position to be successful in this country. They're
hmm
not set up for success. Our kids are being set up for failure. And if you don't think a little thing like this mascot affects these kids, you're mistaken.
It certainly.
You're mistaken.
Imagine, right? Imagine being a lower grade, ninth grade, 10th grade, and you get up there and you're on a sports team. I played for the Shenendehowa Plainsmen, and next thing you know, your team sport doesn't exist, or you lettered in the sport as a Plainsman, and now it's been eliminated. I
All
mean,
I know is that
all they do is harm these kids.
that's all they do.
No
All they
pride.
do is do things to make themselves
Bunch
look
of
important.
stupid, idiot adults doing this to them.
We are living in a world where the majority used to rule and the minority used to be heard and respected. Now we live in the world where the minority get everything they want and the majority just say, oh, well, that's the way it is.
Not worth the fight. Yeah.
It's not worth the fight, right? The entire country's
Yeah.
screwed up. Our city of Cohoes is screwed up. People watching this show, if you don't
Yeah.
realize that Cohoes is screwed up, the world is screwed up, then I don't know what to tell you. Because I'm just a guy sitting in my office having a podcast talking about the little things that just burn my britches because nobody
Yeah.
else wants to talk about them.
And Aaron Valls makes a good point too. She says not just the schools, but it's also happening to statues, and she's absolutely right.
Well, that's what I said, right? She is right. I said since 9/11, all these
Yeah.
weird things have been happening. We're trying to
Yeah.
erase history.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to call ourselves?
Yeah.
The Shenendehowa Flowers? I mean, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
I'm going to be a chief and I'm going to
Probably
be a
give it some
warrior.
kind of a
And you know
Patsy
what?
name.
I'm going to change the name of our podcast to Truth, Lies, Political Bullshit, and Two Warriors who are out there battling the beast every day because nobody else wants to do it. And you know what? I don't care what people think. I am 57 years old. Do you think I care anymore if somebody's going to get mad at me because I take on a politician because he's an asshole and he finds it like immorally wrong to call his kids' baseball team the Chiefs?
Yeah. Yeah.
But he doesn't say a word about kids who are hopping over the border, coming to schools that murdered somebody. Oh, geez, you can't say
crazy
that.
what's going on.
I can't talk about the border. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Maybe if people stood up and have some courage.
So was there a big what kind of outcry was there when they voted to change the name of the Plainsman?
To me, I think the problem is there was I think it was in Long Island.
Yeah.
And I'll stand corrected, but Long Island school said, "Screw you, we're not going to do it," and then they end up having the liberal courts, because it's not just these board, right? So some liberal New York court said, "No, you have to." And the problem was that it wasn't just, "Hey, you have to change your mascot."
Yeah.
It was, "Hey, you have to change your mascot, and if you don't, we're holding back your funding."
Your federal funding, yeah.
Your state funding.
So
basically, what we're doing is we're going to show you that this isn't a due process. This is a dictatorship, and we'll decide that this beautiful picture of an Indian that I would be honored if I was an Indian, and a bunch of kids were representing that picture and that heritage, and out there every day working their asses off. Blood, sweat, and tears, right? I'd be honored.
Two terms, Sean, one is when you volunteer to do something, and the other one is when you're voluntold.
Yeah, well, I used to say that about the justice, right?
Yeah.
I used to say, well, I'll save it for another story, but I used to say, you know what capital punishment is? It's when you get punished when you don't have no capital, okay? That's just the way it goes, right? But, hey, listen. I want to jump over to our new segment, which is called the Hot News. People that submit tips to us. Holy shit, I'd have to do a 6-hour podcast if I played every tip. But there are people who, hey, they live in this city and they're afraid to say anything. But they just pick little things out. And I look at them and I go, no kidding. I think that's worthy of having a 5-minute conversation. So, last year, well, when I redid Ransom Street, okay, on the corner of Ransom and White, we were going to put this nice little pocket park, right? Some benches, some lights, some stuff, just so people who were living in a nice downtown could walk outside, sit down, and catch some fresh air. And I unfortunately wasn't able to do that because I got the hot seat and they booted me out, probably because I told them they were a bunch of whatever. But just 2 days ago, I got a email with some pictures, and I want you to see the pride that we have, the Cohoes proud that we have
Mm-hmm.
in our downtown, that seen over $60 million of economic development. Let me say that again. $60 million of economic development that I brought in when I was running the city. Okay? That city was quickly becoming the talk of the capital region.
Yeah,
Best restaurants, music hall, rock the block, new shiny sidewalks, everything.
Yeah.
Ports to make sure dogs weren't crapping on the sidewalks, cops walking the beat, safe place to bring your family.
Canal Square.
The city finished that park just about summertime, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let me show you how much pride they have in the city. So there's your brand new park. If you look over in the back, they have this little history board that people can go and read about the history. The problem is you can't get over there because if you have shorts on, you're going to get poison ivy on your cuckoo birds, okay? The thing is, the weeds are infested. They're up over the top of the plaque. It is a overgrown mess. There is your park. 6 months into its birthday.
Now, right, and for those who don't know, because the picture doesn't show it, this is the corner of White Street and Remsen. Okay, that mini park. Okay, where they put the new mural on the wall.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And it's really it's a.
So the bottom line is
right. It's just terrible.
Just take a look at it.
No upkeep.
Take a look at it.
Yeah.
Step back for a minute, people who are watching the show, and ask yourself, is this pride in your city? Is this Cohoes proud? Is this a place you'd want to walk down with people that you're inviting to your house to try to go down to, Ransom Street and get into one of the restaurants if they're still going to be there in a couple months? Who the hell knows?
If you go up Remsen
you got to walk. The mayor walks by it every freaking day.
Yeah.
Every day I drive by that with my fingers crossed that the freaking thing would have the grass cut. Now, I'm told, Sean Higgins, if you're watching this show, send me a message, come back on the show, tell me if this is true. I'm being told that the reports that went back to Higgins about the grass and the weeds all over the city, this is just part of the common thread here, folks. This is just one park. It's like this everywhere. The whole downtown. If you go downtown,
look at Lansing Park. They dumped, I don't know how many piles of dirt right behind the middle school.
I want to stick with Ransom Street for a minute, though.
Sure.
Because we spent millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Ransom Street was the start, the nucleus of bringing Cohoes back to the All-America city. When you have a downtown that's bustling, people living in that downtown that support the downtown, and it continues to grow.
It's good people,
Right. It's tentacles. It goes throughout the whole city, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is what it looks like now. And that's just the park. But if you walk down Ransom Street, every part of the sidewalk's got weeds growing through it. All of the beautiful trees that we planted have weeds growing up as high as wrapping around. Trees are snapped. Nobody gives a crap.
Yeah, and you see,
but this is your new park.
Music hall, and there's no pride, okay? And the people that work there or the business owners don't go on out and take care of simple little things like that, okay? It's just the pride is gone, and here it is in the heartbeat of the city.
So let me finish about Sean Higgins.
Sure.
You may be the one who asked him. I'm not sure. I can't remember. No. Was it you? Was it Randy Kniff? Somebody went to Sean Higgins. He went to Steve the Butcher Hennessy.
Yeah.
Okay. Hennessy the Beefcake. We're going to call him Hennessy the Beefcake. He's all pumped up and he likes to boss everybody around and try to fire you if you don't kiss his ass.
Well, I gave Higgins a couple other things about the
well, I just seen Randy Knifka say he was him.
Let's stay on
but Randy Knifka went to Sean Higgins because I talked to Knifka about the weeds. He remembers when I used to go out as the mayor and pick weeds because they give me a headache. I can't stand to see a city with weeds. So I used to go out there myself and pick the freaking things. And our city had no weeds. Around every telephone pole downtown, weeds. But anyway, Sean Higgins says he goes to Steve Hennessy, and Hennessy says, "Oh, there's nothing we can do about weeds."
Yeah, nothing they could do.
Nothing we can do about weeds. Maybe if you didn't suspend half your freaking department, Brutus Beefcake, you would have somebody to pick the freaking weeds, and our city could take a little pride. But hey, then again, I think I'm asking too much here.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting rid of anybody that makes any kind of a comment that he doesn't like. So you're out off on the street. In the meantime, you look around and the maintenance, the lack of maintenance, you see it going up Columbia Street as well. I mean,
you want me to tell you what the kind of bully he is? There's two guys that work in this city. Two guys that have never been in trouble in their whole career, 20 plus years and 15 plus years. Never been in trouble. I know these guys. They are class acts. They never get in trouble. Okay? He has on 3 occasions already tried to fire them, suspended them for 30 days, suspend them for 40 days. Both of them just won their portions of their disciplinary, told to get back to work. He takes them out of their jobs that they've been in for 20 and 15 years, and he's got them throwing garbage or filling potholes, anything he could do to bust their chops. I would love for somebody on their last day, like Al Paul, to stick his foot up the guy's ass, because that's what he's doing to every single one of these guys that work for him. He disrespects them, and Keeler lets him disrespect them as well. So between Tweedledee and Tweedledum, they shit all over the employees of this city. And I'm going to tell you, there's employees that didn't like me, that call me up and email me and say, "You can't believe what they're doing here." Mm-hmm. Now, I get it. Sometimes employees get a little lax and you got to make them work, and they get pissed off at you. Well, I don't have no sympathy for that, right? Mm-hmm. But when they do work, and because they question things that could affect their safety, and then your job now is to fire them or go after them.
Clown Hennessy,
that makes me sick.
Yeah. Hey, Sean, very quickly, I mean, we got a couple other things, and we're getting close to an hour here. Look at, I wanted to talk about your favorite guy real quick, okay? Andy Cuomo. With his
the most corrupt governor in America.
Found out he had a Chinese spy. And so did Hochul.
Well, you know, these people
furious now.
Cuomo is when I said he was the most corrupt governor in America, people knocked on my door. Next thing I knew, my life was ruined, right? So hopefully he still doesn't have that clout, because he is the most corrupt governor in America.
Yes, he is.
You know, he's out there beating up other people, trying to ruin their lives using his power, while he's fondling women down in the state elevator, right? That's the problem with
state troopers. Yeah,
these are the people that you have running your life. Mm-hmm. They go to church and they pray to God and tell you how religious they are.
Yep.
And then they leave and go support some of the most ruthless policies in the world that are certainly not religious. Just be real. Yes, if you're just a real dude and you really care and you're going to fight the good fight, don't worry about it. They're going to destroy you. But hey, you can still stand with pride and say, "Hey, I fought them all. I fought the law and the law won. All right, but I'm still standing." So have the courage of your convictions, people. Say what you need to say. You know, I think it was Benjamin Franklin that said, you know, it's your responsibility to question authority.
Yeah.
Okay?
It is.
They question authority. I questioned authority. You're supposed to question authority. The problem is, when they do, be prepared to have them shoot at you.
Yeah.
And that's what happened here in Cohoes, right? People go down and say, "Hey, we feel unsafe," and this guy says, "Well, move out of the city."
Yeah,
then they go down again, and he brings the police chief in, who's going to be a puppet for him.
Yeah.
Right?
And you go
because he works for him.
Right. And when you challenge the city, they have unlimited resources. Well, reasonably, you know, to fight you all the way on things.
Hey,
Okay,
listen, all I can tell you is
they
that
don't
if you
care.
like our show, take a
Yeah,
couple seconds, jump over to YouTube and subscribe. Now, we are the fastest growing small, there's medium, small, large. We are a small podcast doing about 60,000 people a month, but we are growing faster than YouTube channels by 92%. When I get our stats from YouTube, they go by this point in your career, you should only be here. You guys are way here. So listen, help us out. Jump over, subscribe, and let's continue to grow.
yeah.
And before I leave tonight, I want to just go back to the very beginning of this podcast, and
I
that's
got
when
it.
I
Right,
said,
right.
let's never forget how blessed we are to get up every day and have another day at this world. And
I
I
got
heard a
one
quote.
shout out. Yep.
I
When
heard
you're
a
ready.
quote. I want to
Yep.
use this quote. I heard a quote. Let me get it right now. You got me all worked up, Timmy. Uh, the quote says, Jesus, Timmy, I can't. This is what happens. I get off. Oh, the quote says that, go live your life because, screw it. I don't even remember the quote. Hey, Tim,
Hey, I
I don't
got
remember. I was waiting all
well,
day to use this quote, and now I can't remember it.
right. And then I got in on your stuff, and then you drew a blank.
Yeah, because
Okay,
I was right in the middle of spinning out, and you jump in and you
right.
say something.
Okay, Kamala.
Son of a
Hey,
bitch.
while you're thinking about it, I wanted to do a shout out to thank Lori Yondo, our city clerk of think 20 years, Sean.
Lori's
She
a great girl.
retired. She retired Friday. Okay,
Congratulations to Lori.
and you know what? She answered all of my foils that I put in. I worked her to death. Okay. And Lori, if you're listening to the podcast, you're going to be sorely missed by me. And I hope whoever replaces you comes in and does the exceptional job that you did. So, Sean, can you remember that quote?
I just remembered it a second time and forgot it again. It said something to the effect like this. Go out and live. You only live once. And I say, and the quote said, no, you don't only live once. You only die once. You get to get up and live every single day.
Okay.
So take that quote, as screwed up as I just did it, because you, Timmy, screwed me up. Timmy Thibodeau, co-host of Truth, Lies, and Political Bullshit, just took away my thunder that I worked all day to remember this quote. And now I'm going to leave. I'm going to go sit in my chair, and it's going to pop into my head, and it's going to be too late. So, hey, everybody, God bless you.
That's
Get up
why I use
tomorrow.
notepads. Okay, I write notes. I take
I
all
don't
my
need notes. I
okay?
just need you to let me
Okay.
finish talking because
Okay.
I don't know how to stop talking. So I
Yeah.
understand why you have to cut me off. But I
Yeah.
get it. But hey, God bless everybody. Again, thanks for watching Truth, Lies, and Political Bullshit. Send us some emails. Sean Moore's podcast at Gmail. We'll put it up under the Wendy Wendy the Pooh
Remember what?
quotes. Yeah. We'll put it up under our hot news. And until next week, I'll see you later.
Okay.